Hey ladies, thank you so much for investing in this workbook and taking these first steps into redefining and reimagining exactly what womanhood is. So, to jump right in, we're getting started with, I have notes here so I don't get off track, notes and coffee. So, to jump right in, we're going to get started with the goddess rule. Now, rule is going to be used in two different ways here in the entire workbook, but definitely for this particular section in part one. And rule is defined first to gain control, govern, or domain. To control, govern, or domain. The second way that we define rule is principle or regulation governing conduct, action, procedure, arrangement, etc. And so that second one is your rules that you live by, like the laws that you live by. The first rule is how you govern. It's your queenly rule. And those are we're going to have two different exercises in part one. Actually, there's two exercises in all parts. It's a three-part workbook. So in part one, our first exercise is going to be a letter to self. And there are lots of directions down there for you to read over. But the one thing that I want you to really work on and focus on as you write this letter to yourself is complete and utter openness and honesty with yourself. This workbook is for you. You know, hide it under your bed, put it between your mattress, roll it up and stick it in a boot and put it up in the attic over the winter. But if you want to keep it away from other people, but I want you to get raw and deep with yourself. And so there's lots of questions that I have for you to answer if you ever get stuck on something in writing this letter. But this is a letter to you, your 15-year-old self, about what it means to be a woman, defining what it means to be a woman. So now we're talking about the rules, the laws of womanhood. What would you tell your daughter? What would you tell the 15-year-old you that is blossoming into womanhood, who's, steps away from making the mistakes that we remember back then? What would you want you to know? Get raw, exercise get deep. It's about defining your domain. So we all live in households, whether you're married, whether you're dating, you're cohabitating, living together, then your home is your domain. Or maybe if you're just dating, your domain is choosing where you're going to have fun every other weekend. Your domain is whatever you choose it to be, but I want you to define it. And it'll look different for every woman, and that's okay because we all live in different situations. My domain is my household. With my husband and my children, there are certain things that I have first say over. And this concept of first say is that we have control over things, but I have a basic belief that husbands or men are leaders and head of household. And so we give them that privilege of leading us and heading our household, but they can't run everything. Okay, they can't do everything. They need us. And so there are areas in our lives that we have first say. And I want you to define those things. And I have a cute little graph down there for you to just write the things in. It's a circle with some points sticking out. In the circle, you're going to put what the overall thing is or area is that you rule over. It could be, taking the kids to school. And then there's some points that are going to help you discover how you're going to get those things done. Or you can just put how you've been getting those things done and what works for you. But here I want you to discover what works, what doesn't, and where you need to grow and change. So that's the goddess rule. That's part one. This is all about getting you really ready for parts 2 and 3, which get a little bit deeper. This whole thing is deep. But I want you to have that idea or that thought as you move through part 1, 2, and 3, parts 1, 2, and 3, that this workbook is about redefining womanhood. So, without further ado, go ahead and jump into your exercises. Remember, you can always reach me at Twitter on Twitter, at Twitter. And my name is at Mia Garrett, and that's Garrett with one T. And use the hashtag I wear the panties, and I will be sure to answer all of your questions, comments, concerns, love, hate for the workbook. I'm feeling my hair. I just took my braids out, y'all. So I will see you guys in part 2, where we will be talking about the harmony rule.